Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Sandeep Pednikar, and you're listening to One Universe, the show that's based on the non-profit One Universe that promotes positivity through the promotion of love, peace, and harmony. We always have guests and topics that promote positivity, that promote love, peace, and harmony in our community. And today we have a special guest, my friend Brigette Gayden, who is here with us to talk about something very special. But before we get into that special thing, please, I would like you to tell us about yourself and welcome on the show, first of all.
Well, thank you for having me. As you said, I am Brigette Gayden. I am a native of Memphis. I was born and raised here. I graduated from East High School, which is right down the street. I attended their pre-med program.
Nice.
Well, they had like a nursing pre-med program. And it was an optional school, so my parents thought that it would be a good fit for me to attend. I attended there, and I decided I love nursing.
Okay, and that was like 5 years ago, correct?
No, I'm actually about to be 55 years old next month.
Wow. Okay.
I thank
Beautiful.
the Lord. I thank the Lord that I
Beautiful.
still have my youth and all my faculties. So I'm grateful and blessed for that.
Absolutely.
But during the course of my attending East, I just fell in love with the medical field. I thought about pursuing the doctor route, but I was like, that's going to take too long. So nursing was a better fit for me, less time. So I decided to go to nursing school, and I attended Austin Peay State University. And I graduated in '91. Austin Peay was the second leading, or they had the most credentials outside of Vanderbilt in the state of Tennessee. So they are highly accredited school.
Nice.
So I
Very
attended
good.
there. I graduated in '91 with magna cum laude. And
Very good.
I started working at two hospitals that are relics in Memphis now. One of them as a nursing student, I was working at St. Joseph, which is no longer in existence. St. Jude bought them out and have done all that reconstruction down there. And then I worked at Baptist Central that was on Union, and I think UT has bought that out. So after completing the ER, I worked in the ER for several years, and then I got married, and my husband and I wanted to own something. It didn't matter what. He wanted a Subway. But Subways wasn't available, and the broker that he was talking to said, I got a daycare I can show you
Okay.
on Brookhaven Circle. So we saw the daycare. I'm not going to say we fell in love with it. It was just a means to an end.
Okay.
We bought the daycare. And that was in '96. We had two locations, but right now, currently, I only have one location. The daycare is called Blessed Beginnings Learning Academy.
Very nice name.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, how long have you, since '96 basically?
Since '96, I have, as I said, I opened my second location in 2000. The first one was on Brookhaven Circle, East Memphis. The second location, which is currently still in operation, is in Millington. Well, it's in Fraser on Millington Road. And we've been there since 2000, still in business.
Okay. So, apart from doing this business and offering services for children, you do some things on the side as well.
Yeah, as they say, I'm a jack of all trades. I haven't mastered any yet, but I do a little acting. That's where I met you.
Okay. Just a little acting,
Just
right?
a little acting.
Okay.
Community theater. I've been in a couple of plays. Actually, on my bucket list, I would like to do a national commercial. That's one of the things that I would like to do. But I've done just local plays, and we're on the project now, independent film.
Which has won hundreds of awards, over 100.
Right.
Over 100 international awards, and you play the assistant chief
Assistant chief.
in the movie The Chief.
The chief.
Good.
So this is a great opportunity for me because, like I said, I've been doing community theater plays, but never an independent film. So, and I'm just grateful that I had an opportunity to meet you. I think I met you when I was doing a play, Dare to Dream. Dreamtime Productions, and you came over to my daycare to do an interview of
Absolutely.
the cast. So.
Right. So, what made you turn towards stage acting or acting in general?
Well, my passion is to sing.
Wow.
I sing in my choir, and I'm just I can carry a tune, and I lead songs, but I'm just not a phenomenal American Idol singer.
Okay.
So one summer, I was talking to my mom, and she's very active in the community, and I asked her if she knew of any places that had singing or voice lessons, and she referred me to this place called MBAA, which is Memphis Black Arts Alliance, and I called, and they told me, yeah, you can come over here. We have some singing and acting. When I got there, I don't know who gave me that information, but the person said, no, we really don't have any singing and acting. No, we don't have any singing voice lessons, but we're looking for some extras for the show called Annie.
Okay.
I was like, okay. I never thought about acting, never really wanted to, but I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity. So I became, just part of some of the ensembles and that. And I was like, okay, this is something that I kind of like. And so I've been kind of doing it. And that was in 2017.
Okay.
So I haven't been in it long. I'm still a novice when it comes to that.
Okay. And then one thing led to the other, and then you on another stage show with Rennie.
Renee, that's
so,
Dare to Dream.
Right, Dare to Dream. And so then from there and through the contact, because Andre was a part of that
That's right.
act as well, and then he took you into the film, The Chief. Again, I would like to mention that it is an award-winning film, hundreds of awards, and no exaggeration about that. But apart from that, the most important thing why we are here is to promote something, which is this book. She is the author of a newly established, published book, which is called The Diary of a Germaphobe. So here it is, and that's her. Now tell me, before we get into the gist of the book itself, what is it about writing that you have?
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a writer. I never went to school for journalism or anything like that. But everybody can keep a diary. I mean, so things that are near or dear to you, or things that you just don't want to lose. I like to retain things. Everybody's memory is not so great, so what I do is I do journal. That's what keeping a diary is. So I would just write stuff down just to preserve it so I can go back and look at it as a reference if I needed to. But when I started with this book, it started off with me, as I said, I'm a nurse. I own a daycare, and I also am a landlord, so I have like 5 rental properties. So I've always been a real meticulous person when it comes to hygiene. Working in the ER, you see so much. You see things that make you cringe, body fluids, just all kind of things. And I was like, how am I doing this as a nurse when I'm feeling this way? So I just started kind of writing stuff down. I eat out a lot, so I started going to a lot of restaurants, and I see stuff that I know shouldn't be happening because I have a daycare. So the health department comes in and rates us, and they tell me, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't have that. So I'm like, okay. So when I go out to eat, I start noticing, do these people know? And I know the health department comes out, but if they're not there that day, the staff tends to do whatever. When the health department is there, you're going to be on your best behavior. You're going to make sure everything is right. But when they're not there, you're just going to do whatever you want to. So I started writing stuff down every time I saw things. This isn't right. This isn't right. And so that's kind of how the diary came about. And then I started including other things. COVID came, and we had to adhere to a lot of practices and standards. A lot of people had to adjust. That was nothing for me. I was doing everything that I'm doing in this book. I was doing pre-COVID, years before. So I just said people need to be more aware. Since we've come through a pandemic, and a lot of times people were asking, well, why do I have to wear a mask? Well, why do I have to wash my hands? Well, why do I have to wash my bags? I knew all of these things years before. I was like, maybe this is a good time to share with the public why we should do things.
Okay. So now, based on what you're telling me, I can tell that you are, I wouldn't call a cleanliness freak, but a person who definitely wants to have everything nice and clean. So from keeping everything clean to being a cleanliness freak and then catapulting to being a germaphobe, tell me, why would you call yourself a germaphobe?
Okay, well, to me, a germaphobe, and I have the definition in my book, is described as a person who obsesses with just their environment. So, to be able to leave my house, a normal person would just get their keys, get their bag, and leave. I have to pack sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizer, disinfectant spray, because I know during the course of my day, if I'm out, I'm gonna have to stop, maybe go through a drive-through. I can't get out all the time to wash my hands, so I have to pack things just in order. Gloves, if I know I'm going to purchase gas that day, or pump gas, I need gloves. So there is a process for me just leaving the house.
Wow.
And it comes from, as I said, being a landlord. I've gone to inspect some of my tenants' houses. And I mean,
how often do you go? Is it an
maybe every 6 months or so.
Okay.
I have to inspect.
Is it a surprise visit?
Most of the time it is.
Okay, and then it turns out to be a shocking visit for them. Okay.
It's shocking for me because I'm like, how do people live in these type of environments? And then just being around the daycare, you know, children with the noses running and picking up things and putting it in their mouths. You know, I'm constantly saying, "Oh, stop, wash your hands, go do this." So it became, for me, it's like, I'm not gonna say I'm OCD, but in my head, I'm thinking if I don't do these steps, it's almost like a ritual, then I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna make myself sick if I don't constantly keep my hands clean, because whatever I touch, if I ingest it, it's gonna make me sick. Or if I step on something and take it into my house, it's gonna make, so it's a whole lot of different idiosyncrasies that I have that people might look at me, and some of my family say, "Now you're just going too far. This is just too much." I've had people to say, "Well, you might as well live in a plastic bubble because germs are everywhere," and they are. But I look at people sometimes and say, that's the reason they're sick. I mean, I rarely get a cold, and really, you know, I'm pretty healthy.
I mean, you are, yeah, that's correct, yes. So, for people who don't necessarily care so much, do not take all those precautions, what is it that they can learn from your book?
Well, if they don't take the big precautions, because they don't understand the consequences of what may happen. You know, we just do things and think. Give you an example. We might go to a restaurant or to a place and just start eating. I see people all the time. I've notated in the book, I've gone to buffets, which I've stopped. A lot of people do. But there are people that I've noticed when I was working at Brigette Gayden. There was a buffet. A lot of people that worked out in the landscaping area, a group of men would come in, never wash their hands, just go straight to the buffet. Now everybody's touching that spoon. Now, you know, in the yards, what kind of bacteria and microbes we can pick up. And people don't realize that when you go behind and you go touch another surface that has been contaminated and you ingest that, there's a lot of things that can go on your body. We just think, oh, I'm sick because I didn't do this or I didn't do that. A lot of it is just ingestion of bad bacteria.
So now, what would you say to people who have this argument and the example that you gave precisely of people who do yard work and come directly to a restaurant and a buffet restaurant and they touch every single thing? The fact is that because they are doing their job and not taking sanitizers or any other precautions, that they are immune to those kinds of germs and they don't need to go through this, because the fact is that when you take too much sanitizers, you take too much medicine, Then, as a nurse or a doctor, you might know that taking too much medicine is not good for you because you become immune after a period of time. Then you become immune. When you are taking sanitizers, using sanitizers and taking more precautions, then don't you think that you become immune to some germs or they might die? And there is, of course, a joke that people say, oh, if you're using a sanitizer, then you're leaving dead germs on your hand anyway. And then you go further and say it's better dead than alive on my hand. But the fact is that, for example, when we take yogurt,
Okay.
so that has bacteria, and it is a good bacteria,
Right.
and it is extremely necessary, a probiotic thing, right? It is necessary for it. But when you are taking more precautions to avoid every single thing, then it kind of, I don't know if backfiring is the right word, but to some extent you are minimizing, and that treatment itself becomes immune to the germs, the viruses and the bacteria. And then, so what is your take on that?
Well, let me give you a good example.
Mhm.
I had my relatives that always asked me that, why do you always do that? And, you know, germs are everywhere. And I said, when you get ready to have a major surgery, and this was during the pandemic, like, I don't want to wear a mask. Would you allow a surgeon to operate on your body, and he hadn't sterilized his hands, he doesn't have on any of the protective equipment, because whatever he touches is going into your body. You're already compromised. So would you use that argument, oh, he's just going above, you know, he's just too over precautious with this? No, I think everybody would say, if I'm going to surgery, I want everything to be sterile.
Super clean, yeah.
So there, in that situation, there is no, you know, too clean.
Correct. But now let us say that if you are using it on a daily basis and like 10 times a day, and you're taking some medicine, for example, so many times, and you've taken it over a period of so many years, then your body becomes immune to that. The example that you're giving is a one-time example of a surgeon sterilizing everything, which might only be a one-time for that individual. But for the surgeon, he is doing maybe 1 or 2 surgeries in a day, or maybe in a week. So I understand that, but I want people also to realize that you have to have cleanliness.
You do.
It is extremely necessary. But you are calling yourself a germaphobe. And I want people to realize that the good thing about writing this book is that it is being presented from you putting yourself as an extreme germaphobe. And so the fact is that nobody might want to be, but they definitely have to read this book to understand how to be clean.
That's right.
What it means to be being a clean person, not only in terms of cleanliness, but also in terms of viruses and bacteria and other germs that are there all over the place, and how to keep everything nice.
Yes.
So I think that this is a book that everybody needs to read. Before we end, what other things that you can tell about the books? Why should people read your book?
Well, as I said, my quest is just to have everybody be more informed. Even if you don't go through the extreme measures that I do, you may glean 1 or 2 things that you never thought about, and just, you know, and you read it and say, you know, I didn't realize, let me change. Because this one thing I could do to change is not going to harm me. It's going to only probably make it better. And the subtitle is Obsessed with a Healthier World. So my goal is to just inform the public, the world, of things or measures we could take just to be a little bit more healthier. Who doesn't want to be healthy?
Of course.
And coming from a nurse, you know.
Correct. And it is not only for yourself, but it is for your loved ones, your spouses, your children, your family and your extended family, and the community at large. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to reach out to us, do give me a call at 901-849-DEEP. And if you would like to email us, the address is sgp97@hotmail.com. And of course, you can call or text me on the number. But do you think people would like to call you? And can you give out your number for the book?
Of course. I can be reached at Brigette Gayden, and that is BRIGETTEGAYDEN @gmail.com. So you can send me an email if you're interested in the book, and I promise you, you will really enjoy it.
Okay, and so what is the price of the book?
It is $19.95.
Only.
Only.
It's a paperback, and how many pages does it
It's
have?
113 pages.
Wow, okay, very nice number.
And I do want to say it is dedicated to my sister who passed in 2020.
Okay.
She's only 49 years old. She passed of ovarian cancer during the COVID epidemic, so we wasn't for sure if she had COVID, but it turned out to be ovarian cancer. So I do have a couple of things. She was a slight germaphobe as well. So I got a couple of pages in there about her as well and some of her experiences. She was really extreme at one point in her life.
I see, okay. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a book that my friend has written and published. I think you should take advantage of all the information in this book. And as she said, reach out to her through the email that she provided, and you can also give us a call. The number again to call is 901-849D. This is your host, Sandeep Pednekar, and have a great time. And thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, you're very welcome. Bye-bye.